the Environment and Cyber for 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Deputy Secretary, thank you so much for being with us today. To our other guests, thank you for being with us. And certainly thank you for your responses to the question. I think that for some of my colleagues who may have never seen some of these back and forth documents, the context that you provided was perhaps helpful to an understanding moving forward. But I'd like to get back to the discussion related to the 2001 AUMF, and some of what I'll be asking is has been touched on before, but if I can just ask it in a bit of a thread, I would appreciate it. We've had so many discussions here in the halls of Congress, certainly since I got here just in 2019, about the 2001, the differentiation between the 2001 and the 2002, and certainly have made multiple efforts to try and either kind of halt the 2001 where it is, have made efforts to repeal the 2002, and to create a path forward, I think, as this hearing is entitled. So, Deputy Secretary, I'd like to begin with you. If you could give us kind of to the degree that is possible within an unclassified setting, the kind of current status of the Biden administration's view of the 2001 and its utility, which I know could be a 30-minute conversation, but kind of just a brief 30 seconds, if you could perhaps do that.
Sure, Congresswoman. We do believe that the 2001 AUMF is outdated, and we are committed to working with Congress to replace it with a narrow and specific framework that is continuous to ensure that Americans can be protected from terrorist threats.
And I know that my colleague, I think Mr. Levin, just recently asked about some of the over the horizon efforts that are still ongoing. Could you speak to the sort of ongoing and over the horizon to Afghanistan in particular, the ongoing efforts that are still occurring under the 2001?
Yes, as Assistant Secretary Mayer said a few moments ago, we believe that there is still a potential threat from ISIS-K and others in Afghanistan, and so we believe that over-the-horizon capabilities are necessary to make sure that we protect America. Happy to have Assistant Secretary Mayer add if he chooses.
Please.
So I would just say part of this ongoing effort termed over the horizon is really to make sure that we have the indications and warning necessary to perceive a potential threat against American citizens. So what was referenced earlier in terms of some of the operations and what General Kurilla mentioned in his confirmation are really predicated on determining where there might be a threat and then potentially taking the action to interdict that threat.
If we were to halt, let's say, for lack of a better phrase, the 2001 where it is right now, so where there are operations ongoing would still be permitted under that authorization, no entry into new countries or, new countries. Do you think that would have any negative impact on your ongoing ability, the country's ongoing ability to protect the American people?
I believe it would be preferable to repeal and replace the 2001 AUMF with a narrow and specific framework to ensure that the terrorist threat in this arena against American citizens continues to be one on which we can act.
Is there any potential risk that there might be expanded need for action in new countries beyond those where we're currently operating under the 2001?
I would not want to get into a hypothetical in this conversation, Congresswoman. That would be a fact-specific determination in consultation with Congress.
Well, thank you. And then as it relates to ISIS-K, you mentioned them just a moment ago. Are there, and again, to whatever degree you can answer this question in an unclassified setting, have there been ongoing ISIS-K plots against the United States that are ongoing abilities under the 2001 have thwarted within the past 3 to 9 months?
I think there's nothing I can say to that in an unclassified setting. I can only repeat what Assistant Secretary Mayer said previously, which is this is being able to identify the potential for such a threat or see it coming is part of the reason for the over-horizon efforts.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your answers to your questions. And Mr.
Gentlelady's
Chairman,
time has expired.
thank you for this hearing.
I now recognize Representative Claudia Tenney.